At 71 years old, Pierce Brosnan stands face to face with the one thing even James Bond could never defeat: time. The world knows him as the unbreakable spy in the tuxedo, but behind the camera is a man carrying losses so deep they never healed. Now, after decades of silent battles, he has made an announcement that no one saw coming, and it has everyone worried. What is Pierce Brosnan preparing for? Why is he confronting the same fear that has followed him his entire life? Stay with me. The truth is heartbreaking. The story begins far from red carpets and fame. Pierce Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953, in Drogheda, Ireland. His early life was not filled with comfort, wealth, or certainty. His father, Thomas Brosnan, disappeared so early that Pierce never formed a memory of him. No voice, no laughter, not even a face he could recall. His mother, Mae Brosnan, carried the entire burden alone. In the 1950s, being a single mother was not only difficult, it was judged. Eventually, she left for London to find work, and 4-year-old Pierce remained behind in Ireland. What was meant to be temporary separation stretched into 7 long years. During those years, he was passed from home to home in Navan and Trim, living with relatives, never staying long enough to belong. Every move meant new rules, new schools, and strangers who never quite felt like family. That drifting childhood carved silence into him. He learned to watch before he spoke. He learned not to expect permanence. Teachers saw a boy who was bright but distant, always staring out the window as if searching for something just beyond sight. At age 11, everything shifted. His mother remarried William Carmichael, and Pierce finally rejoined her in Scotland. William was gentle and patient, but for a boy built from instability, even safety felt strange. One day, William took him to the cinema to see Goldfinger, starring Sean Connery as James Bond. In that darkened theater, a decision formed quietly. Bond was everything Pierce had never been: confident, controlled, untouchable. He didn't just enjoy the movie. He saw a destination. He left school at 16 and went to St. Martin's School of Art in London, hoping to become a painter. He admired artists like Francis Bacon and Lucian Freud while living on toast and tea. Then fate interfered. Wandering into a theater workshop one afternoon, he watched a performer practice fire eating and asked to try. That reckless moment opened a door he never expected. He entered drama training at the Drama Centre London, and though the program was so demanding that many students broke down or quit, Pierce refused to leave. His first acting opportunities appeared in theater. Gradually, he moved to film, with small appearances in The Mirror Cracked and The Long Good Friday. But the real turning point came in 1982 when he was cast in the television show Remington Steele. Originally, he had auditioned for a small part, but his charm and presence changed everything. He was given the lead, and overnight Pierce Brosnan became a familiar face to millions. His character was clever, stylish, mysterious, and audiences everywhere saw a preview of James Bond. Even magazines and critics began calling him the natural successor to Sean Connery. Producers noticed. Bond discussions began. It seemed destiny was arriving. But contracts blocked him, studio decisions shifted, and timing betrayed him. The role slipped through his fingers. Another actor took it. Pierce was forced to wait again, just as he had waited as a child, always on the edge of belonging. During this time, his personal life grew fuller. He fell in love with actress Cassandra Harris, who had appeared in the Bond film For Your Eyes Only. They married, and Pierce adopted her children, Charlotte and Christopher. They later welcomed a son, Sean Brosnan. Pierce, who had grown up without a father, dedicated himself completely to being one. For the first time, he felt rooted. Then tragedy struck with devastating force. Cassandra Harris was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Her fight lasted 4 painful years: surgeries, chemotherapy, moments of hope followed by crushing reality. Pierce stayed beside her always. He described himself as the quiet party, present and loving, yet powerless. Cassandra faced illness with courage unequaled, but the disease was relentless. She passed away in 1991 at just 43 years old. Pierce held her hand as she slipped away. He believed grief had weight, and suddenly it seemed impossible to carry. 3 years later, in 1994, the role he had lost came back. He was finally chosen as James Bond, stepping into the legacy of GoldenEye. Tomorrow never dies. The world is not enough. And Die Another Day. His debut rescued the entire franchise, revitalizing it when hope was fading. The films earned enormous success worldwide and introduced Bond to a new generation through the legendary video game GoldenEye 007. On screen he was controlled, charming, fearless. Off screen he was still grieving. He found love again with Keely Shaye Smith, whom he married in Ireland at Ballintubber Abbey in 2001. The ceremony was small, emotional, and deeply personal. They had 2 sons, Dylan Brosnan and Pierce Brosnan, and built a life centered on family, not fame. When tabloids attacked Keely over her weight, Pierce defended her publicly, saying he loved every curve of her body and every year of her life. That loyalty defined him far more than any spy role ever could. Then the past returned. Crueler than before. His daughter Charlotte Brosnan, the girl he had adopted and raised, was diagnosed with the same cancer that killed her mother and grandmother. The pattern repeated like an unbearable echo. Charlotte fought bravely for years. She married Alex Smith in London on June 14, 2013. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Pierce once again held the hand of someone he loved as they faded from life. He said at a stand-up to cancer event that he had held the hand of his wife as she died from ovarian cancer and then held the hand of his daughter. As the same disease took her life, few people could endure that level of grief that he chose to transform it into purpose. Pierce Brosnan became an advocate for cancer awareness, pushing for early testing and supporting genetic research. He strengthened his work with UNICEF, participated in environmental activism with Greenpeace, and used his platform not just to entertain, but to protect others from the pain he could not escape. Yet Hollywood, too, dealt its blow. After 4 massively successful Bond films, he received a short phone call telling him his time as James Bond was over. No ceremony, no farewell, just a decision. The rejection left him depressed, but he rebuilt himself again. He continued acting, taking roles such as Dr. Fate and Black Adam, demonstrating maturity, power, and quiet dignity that came not from fiction, but from surviving real life. Today, at 71, Pierce Brosnan lives with the awareness of genetic risk, the memory of loss, and the strength of enduring faith. He was raised in the traditions of the Irish Catholic Church, and he credits faith as the force that kept him standing when grief threatened to pull him under. He does not speak loudly about fear. He speaks quietly about acceptance, about love, about gratitude for the time given rather than bitterness over time taken. Behind the legend of James Bond, behind the image crafted in Hollywood, stands a man who grew up unseen, became famous, lost love, gained it again, buried a wife, buried a daughter, watched his son struggle, and still wakes each day choosing kindness. His story is not only one of fame, it is one of endurance. It shows that strength is not the absence of pain. Strength is walking through it and still reaching for the future. So as we look back on the life of Pierce Brosnan, we see more than a movie legend. We see a survivor. A man who walked through loss, love, and unimaginable grief, yet never stopped moving forward. His journey reminds us that strength isn't perfection. It's perseverance. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.